Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, still morning in a lot of places. Hope you're having a wonderful day, or morning, or afternoon, or evening. I just wanted to tune in real quick, check in. Ah, every day, there's one thing I'm certain about. I'm not going out of business, and it sucks because my goal is to put myself out of business, to empty the shelters, to have everybody live the life that they intended when they got their dog. So I'm out walking this morning. A couple of the knuckleheads, it's my wife's birthday today. So wanted to get everybody out early while it's cool. So we have some plans today. My wife has some conference calls. I have some conference calls. And then it's her day. I'm not going to tell you how old she is because that's rude. But it's a big one. So I'm out walking this morning, and the streets here where I'm staying at my friends are very tight. I mean, I'm saying like one car lane. One car, the other person has to like pull over like against the curb as far as they can, and then that car can squeeze by. So it is an absolute nightmare for many people to walk their dogs. Hi, everybody. It's an absolute nightmare. Um, I watch it every single day. Everybody's response is different. Some people are like, you see the whites of their eyes and they like scurry off and they like run up some person's driveway. I'm waiting for somebody to like open their door one day, and then there's like somebody standing there with two dogs. Um, some people talk. Oh, come on, come on. They're your friends. They're just dogs. It's okay. Everything's okay. It's okay. Some people go into obedience mode. Sit, sit, heel, leave it, leave it, leave it, scruffy, leave it, right? What's up, Scott? Um, Hi, everybody on Instagram. Hi, everybody on Facebook. I call this double screen mogling. That's what we joke in our house call it. Anyway, so what I wanted to talk about today uh, is the sit stay on a walk. And I have kind of two things I want to talk about. One, if it's not working, we have to do something different. And it might be okay that you don't know what to do next, but the first step is to admit that this isn't working. If your dog is still, when you put your dog in a sit stay and he's still lunging and you still feel nervous, if you still feel nervous, fearful, anxious, frustrated, it's not working. It's not working. And I'm going to explain to you right now why it's not working. Number one, we have to think about it from our experience. All we're trying to tell our dog is, I don't want you to go forward. I don't want you to go towards what is stimulating you right now, which is the sight of another animal. I don't want you to do that. So we have to look at the history that this dog lives in. What is the environment? Do we teach our dogs to go towards things that stimulate us? Or them, excuse me. Do we teach them to go towards things that stimulate them? Very simple. Yes or no. Whether you think it's the problem or not, it's irrelevant. The truth is found by starting with no preconceived notions. So no preconceived notions, now you're on the way, you're on the path to search for the truth. So some of the ways, the biggest way is playing with toys. Every time you throw a toy, every time you throw something that looks like another animal, you're teaching your dog to go towards something that's stimulating them. Every single time. It might not be your intention, but this is the problem. We we blame dogs for their behavior, but then we want to be judged for our best intention. That wasn't my intention, but now my dog has to be homeless. That wasn't my intention. Now I have to apologize to the neighbor because my dog just attacked him. It wasn't your intention isn't a good enough excuse. Knowledge is what's going to change this. So the first thing is we have to look at this dog's environment and say, why would a dog go up to something it doesn't know? Do you do that? Something that you're not sure of, do you walk towards it? Or do you stay away from things you're apprehensive of? That's what nature teaches. Stay means stay away from things that make you feel apprehensive. As Brandon says, there's a danger component to stay. Stay away. So, number one, why would your dog want to go towards another animal that it does not know? Learned behavior. Stimulation. Number two reason why it's not working for you. Leashes create confinement. So the reason why your dog feels that way is because they can't make a choice. Leashes are not natural to animals. And it's amazing how many humans think they are. That the dog just popped out of its mom thinking, oh yeah, I know how to walk on a leash. I know how to do all these things. No. There's a lot of things that are biological. Sucking for humans and dogs. We have to get milk. Biological. Pulling your hand away from a stove that's hot. Don't have to be taught that. There's things that are biological and there's things that are learned. And it's our responsibility if we're going to take an animal into our life and educate them. We have to understand what is biological and what is things that this dog has to learn. As Brandon says, dogs have to be werewolves. They have to be half dog, half human, because that's who they're living with. That's their life. So we have to respect that. So we have to say leashes cause confinement, limit choices, and create stress if not taught properly, if an animal is not fulfilled the way they need to be fulfilled. That's two things. Why is my dog going through two things that stimulate them? And understanding the power of a leash. It limits choices. Now, you add a sit stay on top of I'm stimulated and I want to go forward. I'm feeling confined, I can't make choices. Now you limit my choices even more. Sit stay, that's why we get eruptions. Because what you're asking the dog to do isn't how they feel. It's not how they feel, and we have to respect that. Regardless of what you think, it's not about you. It's about this animal that we brought into our homes, and we should feel a tremendous responsibility for their well-being, emotionally and mental and physically. Mentally and physically, we're responsible for how they feel every single day. So even these 5 dogs that are laying behind me right now are feeling and doing, feeling a certain way, then doing something. Right now they're sleeping. That's what we'll just say sit or down means to an animal. It's a biological response. I feel tired, so I lay down. I've never seen a dog that was stimulated decide to lay down. Yet humans do it every single day. So your dog is feeling like a predator. They're feeling bold, want to go towards something, yet we're asking them to do something submissive. Sit. So why would they do it? They know you don't know. They know you don't know because they're saying, I don't feel sit right now. I don't feel that. Regardless whether you're asking for it or not, I'm not feeling it. So I have to ignore you and take care of myself. And that's why you see dogs erupt. Because then they get what is making them feel stress and their handler feel stress. Oh my God, there's a dog coming. And that's how the cycle continues. We're teaching dogs to run towards things that stimulate them. We're putting them on leashes and confining them, then asking them to do things that they're not feeling. Regardless, this crap that goes out there, I'm the master, you should mind me. Bullshit. If you were the master, look at what masters actually do. Look what gurus do. Look what good teachers do. They turn on a light that shows you the path. They don't tell you. They don't tell you. They turn on a light that opens a vision for you to be able to find your way yourself. So that's the problem we're having. For a lot of people, we're saying, regardless of how you feel, you should be doing what I say. How would you like to live like that? Think about that for a moment. No, you want to eat something? No, we're going over here. No, you have to go to the bathroom? Nope, we're not doing that. Nope, we're not doing that either. Oh, there's a dog, it wouldn't be something you would enjoy, if you're honest. So, 3 things. The 4th thing, every time you put your dog in a sit stay when you're on a walk, is you're creating territory. You're creating territory. So what does that mean to an animal? That's the reason why a giraffe and a lion don't have a fence between them, but the giraffe knows to stay away from the lion. Territory. It's an imaginary line that we know not to cross. It's the reason why dogs are barking behind fences when your dog walks by. Territory. It's not natural for an animal to walk through another animal's territory. They just wouldn't do it. But we ask our dogs to do it every single day, regardless whether they feel like, a lot of dogs are feeling like prey. Like, holy shit, that thing is not being nice behind that fence. Do you got this under control? It's not. That's what they're thinking. We're just thinking, oh, we're out for a walk, and that's a fence. And that dog's not going to be able to get out. Dog doesn't know that. Does not know that. So there's something that Brandon always says, and it's the law of nature. Anyone that goes into occupied territory is subject to threat. If somebody tries to walk in your front door that you don't know, subject to threat. Somebody tries to walk into your car that you don't know, subject to threat. It's the reason why many dog bites happen. You ask your dog to sit, you create territory, somebody walks up, which is a bold, dominant thing to do, come into somebody else's territory, then they do something submissive and reach out and try to pet you. The wrong dog gets confused and disciplines. Get out of here. Come on here with your little weak-ass dominance, confusion, submissive bullshit. Don't do that to me. Happens a lot. But we don't think about it that way. Well, he was in a sit. So sit should mean he should be approached. No, sit means he has no choices. Sit means fight or flight. And if I have to be in a sit and have to face the wrath of a pinch collar, an e-collar, if I have to feel pain, if I decide to actually have a normal emotion, which is get me out of here, then what am I going to do? I'm going to choose fight. And that doesn't work out for us. Because oh my God, I'm so sorry. So we have to get knowledgeable. We have to put what we think aside and actually search for knowledge. So those 4 things are what is causing most people's problems when they're out on a walk and they choose a sit stay. What are we doing with our animal that makes them want to go towards things that they're not sure of? Dog runs out into a street and a car comes. They have a consequence and they're like, shit, I'm not doing that again. 2, leashes. They are a confinement. They're restrictive. They're not terrible. They're the law, unfortunately. And what's kind of interesting is the more the leash law has been implemented, the more aggression we're actually seeing in animals. I was studying some photography from the 20s and 30s, and there was a lot of dogs that were off leash. They were in the streets of New York. They were in and out, no problems. Yet we just see this incredible spike in aggression. Incredible spike in aggression. Ask any dog trainer, even if you're just an owner. Call up a dog trainer. Say, hey, I got a question for you. What kind of aggression are you seeing? Why are dogs choosing to fight a situation when if you're not sure you would flight? Why is that? Leashes. Number 3, it doesn't make sense to them. When you ask a dog to sit, most of the time, I'd say 98% of the time, it's because you don't feel control. So you try to put the pressure on your animal to make you feel good. Sit, Sparky, sit, because I'm scared shitless, and I want you to sit. And if you sit, it makes me feel better regardless of how you feel, because it's all about me. Why are you asking your dog to sit? Be honest with that feeling. I've been doing this 12 years. I've heard a lot of justifications for sitting. A lot of justifications. And some of it's just bad information. That's the scary thing about social media, Google. Nobody is validating any of this information. You have trainers and behaviorists that have been doing this a year or two, and then they just go on Facebook and they have a certain look or some random Facebook post that gets a lot of attention, and then everybody thinks that they're the person. Is their shit working? Is it working? Because I see a lot of people, that's why I have to get off Facebook, because it just like makes me want to like go like this, because I want to know what those people would do. What is it? Why are those 2 dogs that wanted to kill my 4 dogs who were in sit stays, why is it not working? They were on pinch collars. The people were talking to them. They were using negative and positive reinforcement. No, yes, good girl. Why isn't it working then? Why isn't it working? Is it because their corrections weren't timed right? They're not using operant conditioning appropriately? They're not using classical conditioning appropriately? Their food wasn't the right organic lamb treat? Why? Why isn't it working? Because it doesn't make sense to the animal. If it did, why the hell would you want to get wrung around on a pinch collar all the time? Nobody would do that. That's animal abuse when you have to keep doing the same thing over and over and over. It's not working. It's not working. And what's funny is the 2 of the dogs that actually, that woman was walking today who tried to do that same thing, I walked with those dogs when my friend Teresa was pet sitting them. Those 2 dogs are so fearful. They walked 12 feet and probably would have walked farther behind Teresa. I had seen her out on a walk, and I was like, ah, shit, you're in my neighborhood. She's like, yeah, I didn't know where our friend lived. Ended up walking with those dogs, met those dogs. I don't think the dogs met, but we walked together. The dogs were like, stay away from things you're apprehensive of. The dogs, we were finally kind of calling the dogs bluff. Oh, you want to attack all these dogs? Great. Come on, let's walk with these dogs. Oh shit, no, that's not what I really wanted. I just wanted them to go away. Oh, okay. So those dogs were familiar with that situation and actually behaved appropriately. So there, for me, is the test of whether it's working or not working. You have a person with knowledge, my friend Teresa, who walks a certain way, it has a certain expectation, cares about what the dog's feeling. Me too. Boom. We get exactly what we want. 2 dogs that don't act like idiots, don't lunge at people, don't lunge at dogs. Everything's fine. Then we have the owner who, for some reason, wherever she learned that from, has a big problem. 4, occupied territory. It's the reason why your dogs are barking behind fences, charging front doors. Occupied territory means whatever's on the other side is subject to threat. So the best thing you can do is continue to move. Just like the dog park, if you go and grab your Starbucks and sit on a bench at a dog park, you are possibly creating a fight. Oh, just go be a dog. I have to text while I'm drinking my Starbucks. And then we wonder why our dog just lays at our feet and doesn't socialize. Another dog comes over, boom, problem. Occupied territory. You think about those 4 things. Doesn't mean you have to change anything. Keep an open mind, search for truth, and think about those things. That's my experience. Same thing that I'm asking you to do, I've done for a long time. It said, I'm not, the most powerful thing you can say that actually gives you the ability to learn. This is the absolute biggest piece of advice I can give anybody. Be willing to say, I don't know. And it's hard because there's a lot of bullshit content out there of people that think they know that don't, and nobody's calling them out. And that's okay, because I did that for a little bit and then I look like an asshole. And that's fine, right? Because some people just, the dog trainers are tricky, man. They're people that have not worked out their own shit. So when you try to actually ask them a question, they get very defensive. And then it goes into that 5-year-old, that 8-year-old, that bullied person, that person that has not dealt with the childhood stuff, the teenage stuff. Then they go into that mode and then they put their emotional cocoon on and you can't actually have a rational conversation with them. And that's why our industry is so messed up right now. Why I have to get a call from somebody that's been to 3 dog trainers. That breaks my heart so much when I hear that. I've been to multiple dog trainers and it's not working. I would love to know why those dog trainers are continuing to stay in business and put out the same information if it's not working, because they don't care. They don't care. They have a belief system. That's what they think. It's knowledge. They get defensive and then nothing actually changes. Where if people actually could talk, then we might actually have a better environment for the animals. So is it you or is it the dogs that you actually care about? It's truth. It's truth. Number 2 topic for today. I could get fired up about that, but Artem's on here, so I have to watch myself because every time I see Artem on here, he likes when I get fired up. So I'm going to behave myself, Artem. Number 2 topic actually was from my cousin's wife, who I did not know was watching our live feed, Artem. She lives in Scarsdale, New York. She has a floppy-eared, totally wonderful Basset hound. They did an amazing job choosing the dog for them. Just enough exercise, just enough sleep. They knew they were having kids. The dog is perfect. So she said in our live feed, which I just wanted to clarify, Artem and I had talked about Muzzles. If you haven't seen that, I'll link it in here. Or you can go to my YouTube channel, The Dog Side, and you can see the 11 episodes that we've done. It's the last one. She said she struggles with people coming up to pet her dog all the time. And how she phrased it was, you and Artem said a muzzle shouldn't be used all the time as a way to stop a behavior. It should be used along with a behavior protocol. And to me, when I heard that, I'm like, yeah. And then she said, well, then is it okay for me to walk my dog in public with a muzzle on to keep people away? And I'm like, oh, I see what she means. So what she meant was her dog doesn't have behavior problems. Is it okay to walk a dog in a muzzle all the time to keep people away? And Artem and I were saying, don't use a muzzle as a crutch. Don't use a muzzle because your dog barks and you're not willing to change your behavior and figure out why your dog is barking so much. Don't just use a muzzle to stop that. And so I absolutely told her, yes, there's nothing wrong. And I encourage you, if you feel like if it does what you need, which is to keep people away, do it. And she said, if we only could make muzzles for people and their hands. And I said, they're called handcuffs. They're called handcuffs. I said this in the live feed. Anytime somebody asks me to pet my dog, I ask them why. And I look at them just like that. Why? I've never heard a good answer. I've never heard a good answer. I always hear, looks just like my dog growing up. I'm a dog lover. If you're a dog lover, that means you respect a dog's being. It doesn't mean you just get what you want, which is to touch them. Makes no sense. It looks just like my dog. I get a lot of this because I live in Los Angeles. Oh, I'm on vacation. I miss my dog. Why don't you hug your husband? Why don't you give your kid a hug? Why do you want to hug my dog that you don't know? Weird. It's weird. It's weird. Now, if we're sitting on a bench and my dog comes over to you and is like, rubs against you, sitting there like, hey, you got the goods. He's telling you I want to be touched. But until then, you might be getting yourself in a problem. So if we could all walk around with a mental handcuffs and not touch people's dogs, it'd make it a lot easier for people. So, all right, I'm just going to look through the comments real quick. Yeah. My friend Tina. She hasn't ended her way. You can read Tina's response. That's an interesting comment. Yeah. I can't. This is something I hear all the time. But again, words and actions are two different things. Your words, a lot of people use words like every dog is different. Okay? I get it. Every dog is different. But then we go out and do the same thing with all dogs. We teach them all obedience. We expect them all to be able to meet other dogs on leashes. We do these things that all dogs are the same. So I have one dog who absolutely is fine meeting other dogs on leashes. Her nervous system permits that. She doesn't feel trapped. She's very social. No problem. I have two dogs that's not a good situation for because of the things I talked about. The leashes are confining. They fire up. They move. They want to smell. They do things. Leashes get tangled up. Then there's stress. Not good. So if it's a dog that they know, then yeah, they know them. Not a big deal. But I don't walk around looking for my dogs to meet dogs on leashes. That's not an appropriate place to meet dogs on leashes. How, that's a separate video of how I work through some of that with dogs that have issues. Part of it is having them on leash at daycare. Controlled environment, dogs are loose, right? So there's ways that you can work backwards through that problem. But my friend Kimberly does dog stuff, also is a very good horse trainer. One of the things she says, I think it was Ray Hunt used to say, is sometimes when you work on the problem, you make your problem worse. And that was a conversation I had with somebody yesterday, was they have a problem with the dog in a certain situation, so that's how they want to fix it. And that can make your problem like put a spotlight on it. Her problem is not seeing dogs on leash. Her problem is she never takes her dogs off leash. So how is a dog who isn't on leash or is on leash supposed to control himself when he never has an experience off leash doing the things that they want to do, which is the four things that we just talked about: removing the confinement, being able to move around neutral territory, all of that stuff. So yeah, there is people are, like Tina said, there's an incredible spike in crazy out there. Yeah, I mean it's and it's the way society is. It's unfortunate, it's marketing. We don't buy stuff when we're feeling confident and secure in ourselves. We buy stuff when we're feeling insecure. That's why the diet industry is so explosive. That's why high-end cars are there. So I can say, oh, you don't have that car? Oh, it's so fancy. Ugh. Right? Like, to say that I have more means you have less. And then what kind of person are you that would want somebody to have less? It's ridiculous, right? But this is the way our society is. I'm a better owner because my dog has a $5 organic cupcake. I'm a better owner because I send my dog Bark Box and watch him rip the box open every single weekend. But then I can't figure out why my dog also wants to kill little dogs when he sees them. I just can't put those two things together because I'm such a good dog owner. I get Bark Box every month with things that look like little toys, and then I let my dog destroy it with his mouth. But then I just can't figure out why my dog would do these things. I'm just such a victim. I don't know. Okay. Don't get off Facebook. I'm not off Facebook, but I follow like 5 people. I'll be honest with you. I just can't go on. The amount of people that are not willing to say, I don't know, is just amazing. And then it just frustrates me because you see these people, that owners and younger trainers who go do these same things, who are too lazy to actually validate this information. Like, this is the same thing that I'm saying to you, I want you to do. Don't believe me. Beliefs aren't truth. Experiences are truth. So what I was explaining to you in my demonstration, Teresa walks a dog a certain way. I experienced that and it was different. I watched the owners multiple times when I passed those people and the experience was different. I don't have to believe. I don't have to believe because I experienced. People that have to believe are not willing to say, I don't know. They're lazy. They're lazy. And they need the belief because they're not willing to actually do the work. So many people want to get to this as ultimate destination of like, I'm going to know everything about dogs. No, you're not. You're never going to know everything. I'm just going to break it to you right now. You're not, right? One of my mentors has been doing this 30 some years and still has like, oh, that's interesting. So if you've been doing it, if Google this, seriously, Google this. Go, I think it's like salary.com, something like that. Google dog trainer. And you will see more than 50% of the industry has less than 5 years experience. And then go look at all the content that's out there in the dog training world. It's full of people that are believing and not willing to say, I don't know. And why I went through that. I finally get charged up about a topic. I have some information, so I want to tell everybody without actually validating whether it works or not. Somebody said that on Instagram, so it must be true. How do you know? How do you know it's true? How do you know that they know it's true? And they're just not trying to get 10,000 people because they have a giant hole in themselves that they're trying to fill with external validation of love from complete strangers. Google that too. Google what social media does to people. It's sad. It's really sad. All right, Mom. Artem. Sorry, I'm getting you fired up at night. I know it's late for you. Okay, I have a conference call at 10, so I have a few minutes here. Deep breath, I know. They may care. It's not easy. I know. I know it's not easy. It's not easy. I know people are trying. But if you wake up every single day, to me, a mistake is doing it more than once. If you screw up and you're like, oh, I learned, I won't do that again, that's learning. But if you keep doing the same thing every single day, that's a mistake. And then you have to then say, well, why do I keep making this mistake? Okay, everybody, I will check in with you later. If you have any questions, comments, or problems, you can go to the dog side, send me an email. I'm much more active that way. It's always reversed on the computer. This way, right there. You can go on my Instagram. I share a little bit more of the stuff behind the scenes. But yeah, I got this new program on my computer that makes it super easy to go live on Facebook. So that's what I'm using. And yeah, if you need anything from me, let me know. If you have any questions, if something is like sparking you and you're like, yeah, I don't understand that, send me a message, man. I talk to people all the time. I'm not hard to find. I'm not hard to find. I will absolutely give you my phone number and I talked to a woman yesterday for 30 minutes about her dog that I've never met before. She's having a problem. I'm not in it for the money. Remember, I'm in it to put myself out of business. I have a lot of other things I want to do. I just struggle with this dog behavior, and I just watch people every single day not happy to be with their dogs. And no one woke up one day and said, I want to get a dog to make my life miserable. I want to get a dog because I hate walking and I want my dog to be aggressive and make me feel embarrassed when my neighbors stare at me. I want to get a dog so that I can't have people over because it bites them. I want to have a dog because I hate going to the beach and I don't want to ever go again. This is not why people get dogs, but it ends up being their worst nightmare. So, all right, my friends. Hope I didn't get too fired up and turn people off. I'm not trying to turn people off. I'm not angry at you. I don't hate you. I have a lot of compassion for you. I know it's confusing out there. It's really hard to weed for the bullshit. But if you just start with, I want to understand the truth, be willing to put your belief down for a month and see if something changes. What are you going to lose? What are you going to lose by not playing with a toy for a month? I've never in my whole life of 12 years have ever had a call from somebody that said, since as soon as you told me to stop playing toys with my dog, he died. He just died. He needed it. Be willing to say that's okay. Be willing to put a muzzle on your dog and say, let me see if this changes. Let me see. Just try. And then you'll actually know. You'll actually know instead of having to believe. All right. I'll talk to you guys later.